Each instance of the Studio 5000 Logix Designer application may be configured by the user for their personal preferences in both behavior and appearance. Let's take a look at some of those settings. We begin in the top ribbon menu by expanding Tools and selecting Options. In the Workstation Options dialog, we see that the first category contains application-wide options, such as the default project directory. Below that, we may enable or disable a temporary project recovery file for instances when the application is not properly closed, such as in the event of loss of power to the programming workstation. Of course, whenever the application is closed properly, the temporary file is deleted. When enabled, we may also specify the period in minutes between automatic saves to the recovery file. Next, we may also configure an automatic project backup. When this feature is enabled, a backup of the current project is saved so that, if we wish to discard changes, we may revert to one of the backup copies. This requires us to specify how many backups that we wish to maintain. So, as seen here, if we maintain the default value of 3, a backup is created every time we save, and the oldest backup beyond the third is automatically deleted. Now we choose whether or not to enable Look Ahead. As seen in this example, Look Ahead provides an automatic completion option based upon items existing in the project that match what we've typed. Here we see that if we are using the FactoryTalk Links application, we have the ability to increase the amount of data sent with each controller transaction by enabling large connection for download. Looking at global display settings, we can choose to show full drag. This displays the item we are dragging during the drag. If this box is unchecked, we only see the drag cursor. At the bottom, we can specify how we want tag descriptions to appear, both in terms of width as well as justification. Moving to verification, the first option allows us to decide whether or not we want verification to check for missing JSRs. Next, we can enable or disable duplicate destructive bit detection, and, for the latter editor, we can enable checks for shorted branches and AFIs. Always false input instructions are often used in troubleshooting to temporarily disable a rung, so it is often useful to have warnings that we may have forgotten to remove one when we are through with our troubleshooting. Skipping down to the ladder editor, we find the ability to enable Quick Key as well as display of its configuration. With Quick Key enabled, we can add instructions with a single button press. Furthermore, we can customize the button assignments to our personal preferences by clicking the Configure button. If we enable Auto Rung Verification, rungs will be verified whenever we click away from them. In the Ladder Editor Display category, we have considerable control over how the editor appears. For example, we can choose to display the routine description. as well as rung numbering and rung comments. We may also customize how instructions appear. Moving to font and color, we see that we can apply a variety of fonts and sizes, as well as emphasis for specific elements. Of course, if we simply want to return to the default configuration, we can click the Reset Category button for any category configuration that we do not like. Similar configuration options are available for each of the 4 language editors. These settings are specific to an instance of the application and will persist for that instance until changed by the user.